All right, again, my name is Kevin Vogel. I'm the Vice President of Virtualization and Cloud here at Champion Solutions Group, and we'll get on our way here. So with that, just a little bit of information, 2 quick slides about Champion, who we are, why we do what we do. And as you can see, we've actually migrated almost 2 million people to the Microsoft Cloud, whether that's Office 365 or Azure. You know, our job is really to help customers take advantage of the cloud, whether it's as a software as a service, infrastructure as a service, or whatever it might be. And we do business with 2,682 customers that have moved up to the cloud. The reason people pick Champion is we add a lot of value to our offerings in Office 365. And you'll see at the end of the presentation, we're going to go over what they are and how you can take advantage of them through Champion Solutions Group and MessageOps. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jason. He's going to walk you through the webinar today. Jason?
All right, thank you, Kevin, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Milgram. I'm the Director of Software Development at Champion, and here, my team, we do a lot of work in Azure and a lot of work with Microsoft's Enterprise Mobility Suite, also known as EMS. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with EMS, it consists of 4 solutions: Azure Active Directory Premium, Microsoft Intune, Microsoft Azure Rights Management, and Advanced Threat Analytics. So we'll be talking about Advanced Threat Analytics today, but to give you an idea of EMS, all 4 of these solutions work together to provide like a comprehensive compliance and security solution for modern IT businesses. And it's not just about security and compliance, it's also about empowering users. And I love talking about EMS. If any of these areas are of interest to you, please get in contact with us after the webinar, and I'd be happy to schedule time and go over EMS more with you. But today we're going to talk about Advanced Threat Analytics, which is the latest addition to the EMS suite. It was an acquisition Microsoft made, I believe, last year, and then brought into the suite 4th quarter of last year. So first, to understand Advanced Threat Analytics, let's look at the problem. So it starts out with the average number of days it takes for a company to determine that someone has been entering into their network using hacked credentials. The industry average is 243 days. And 75% of those intrusions are based on compromised user credentials. And this costs a lot of money globally, and it costs a lot of money for the companies when this happens. So to kind of break that down, most of the attacks, and these are the ones that are maybe they're nation state, maybe they're organized crimes, maybe these are competitive businesses, but they happen, and they employ folks to do this. And the people who break into systems, they do it they do it well, and they do it quietly. They don't go in and start using malware and setting off alarms. They go in quietly and over a period of time collect as much information as they can. It happens much more than most people are aware of. So people come in with, they get a hold of credentials, they use legitimate tools. They don't start using malware, which sets off other alarms. And they're able to stay inside your network for an average of 8 months without being detected. And of course, this costs your company a lot of money. So part of the problem is there are a number of security solutions that exist, and you probably have some in place, but most people have solutions in place that really focus on the perimeter. They're also complex, and they're prone to false positives. Now, what makes Advanced Threat Analytics different, in addition to the detection for known attacks and issues, which ATA provides, and that's what most tools provide, it also adds behavioral analytics. It has a machine learning component where it learns about entities in your environment. And an entity can be a user, it can be a device, it can be an app, and it can be files. and it starts learning common use patterns between and among those entities. And the machine learning it's very similar to what the credit card industry put in place a number of years ago. If you can remember back when you first started getting calls from the credit card company saying, hey, we've noticed something was purchased that's not in your typical profile. We want to make sure that that was actually you. That's a false positive. And generally, we were okay with getting those calls because it made us feel better that they're actually paying attention and trying to put a dent in ID theft and use of our credit cards by people with not good intentions. So that's kind of like behavioral analytics, except with ATA it happens much faster, the learning process, and it's more comprehensive because it's, again, not just based on a user, it's based on a user, device, apps, and files, and the relationship between all those. And it uses machine learning.
So Jason, so if for instance, my normal day I copy 10, 12, 14 files, and then all of a sudden I spike up and I start copying thousands of files, is that something that would be alerted by this?
Absolutely. So in addition to the typical security alerts that can be kicked off with the behavioral analytics, it's going to notify you of two scenarios. One, if someone from the outside has gotten a hold of legitimate credentials and is going in and doing things perhaps in not a typical pattern, it can figure that out within about 2 days instead of the average of 243 days.
Wow.
So that's significant. And that's new insight into your network that you just did not have before. The other side of that is if someone is planning on leaving the organization, all of a sudden they start copying all their contacts, a lot of spreadsheets they're not supposed to be bringing outside of the company, that too can set off alarms. It doesn't shut anything down. Right now, the product, the ATA, sets off a variety of alerts, and you can configure who and what get those alerts. And then you can respond appropriately.
So you mentioned it's not just users. I know there's a lot of things out there like SQL and other services that use credentials to authenticate against applications or resources. Does it even look at those?
Yes, it does.
Wow. Okay.
So it's very powerful stuff, and really kind of just like the entire EMS suite, it's bringing businesses into that next generation of modern computing, really with the compliance and security needs that I think every company in the United States should have set up.
And like you said, it doesn't turn anything off. It just alerts you.
It just alerts you for now. And later in the roadmap, you'll most likely have the option of saying, you can just alert me or disable that user or device and also alert me. But for now, it's just alerting you. So if you want to set this up, it's not that hard to set up. And you can start seeing the information come in and getting insights into your new network. And you don't have to worry about having it accidentally shut off someone's account because it hasn't learned enough. In fact, learning enough, once you install ATA, they typically recommend it builds its the behavioral analytics for 4 weeks before you start utilizing that. But the standard security alerts, those will work right off the bat. So just kind of walk through the process. After you have it installed, it's going to analyze the data. It uses port mirroring against your domain controllers. Now, one important point is all of the 3 other solutions in Enterprise Mobility Suite are all cloud-based. Now, they do have hybrid options, and you can work with Exchange Online and SharePoint Online. ATA, however, at this time is an on-premise only solution. It is part of the cloud suite, and each of those solutions in the EMS suite help significantly with certain areas of compliance and security as well as user empowerment.
Are there minimum requirements for AD? Do you have to be on a certain level of like 2008 or 12 or anything like that to use ATA?
Yes, you do. So your on-prem AD, the minimal functional level is AD 2008. And the two machines that you'll need to set up Advanced Threat Analytics have to be running Windows 2012 R2.
That's good information to have.
Yeah. And once you install, and we'll go back and look kind of at the breakdown of components, but once you install it, it's going to analyze the network. It's going to begin learning the behavioral analytics. And from that, it's going to then start doing the detection. And this next slide I have is just breaking down, so what is it doing? The first two sections are top of security issues and risks, and most attacks. That's what most products do. ATA does that. It also adds the abnormal behavioral analytics. But it's going to look for known vulnerabilities in protocols. It's going to notify you if it's a promising force attack or a hash-to-hash. But what makes it special is it does that, but also the behavioral analytics. And because it's using machine learning, it's constantly learning from every interaction that's happening through your network. It's learning faster than we can, and it constantly adapts. So it is I would say, an imperative tool to have in your environment if you are concerned about folks trying to break in. Now, again, by itself, it is a great tool, but in combination with the other solutions with EMS, it's a stellar complement. Because there are other things you can implement with Azure Active Directory. You can be notified if people are logging in from 2,000 miles away when they just 20 minutes earlier, were logging in from on-premise. There are lots of other security solutions with the other tools. And again, I love to talk about those, but now is not the time.
Is there a certain level of authority that this application has to have? Obviously, if it's looking at all the shares and all the resources in your environment, it has to have a pretty high credential to be able to do that. Am I right?
Yeah, and that has to do with the two components. So when you install ATA, there's the ATA Center and the ATA Gateway. Now you can have more than one gateway. It really depends on the size of your environment, and Microsoft has some pretty good tables that you can look at to figure out how to size the solution based on your environment and packets per second and things like that. But there's two components, the center and the gateway. And the gateway is basically, it's the listener. It's going to collect the information, and that's what's going to do the port mirroring with one or more domain controllers, and it can integrate some other solutions to become smarter. But the gateway collects the information. And the center, that's the brains. That's where it's doing the behavioral analytics. It's doing the machine learning. That's where the data from the gateway is sent, and it's also where you have the web interface for managing the tool. So again, when you first install it, you're going to want 3 to 4 weeks to pass for the behavioral analytics. But the other pieces, the traditional security, will work right off the bat. And I have some screenshots of what the solution actually looks like, the web interface. So here, we have a screen showing us a high-level alert, a medium-level alert, and a low, well, actually no low-level alerts. And it puts them in a timeline. So here we see a high-level alert. I look at the medium, and here I see it detected a reconnaissance attack, and it's showing that there were 157 guest attempts. So one of the things I want to show you in the screenshots is that in the web interface, it's everything is linked and circular. So here we have the alert, and I can mouse over, and that's the device that these are coming from. So I can actually click on the device, and so from the alert, open up the device. And the device, there's a summary, there's activities, and then there's suspicious activities, which will show you all the alerts associated with that device. Now, on every alert screen, it has the recommended steps for how to resolve this. And it also allows you to add notes to the alerts. You can email them, and you can export them. Now, scrolling down a little bit, I see again, the 157 guess attempts, and I see 155 were against non-existing accounts, and 2 were against actual accounts. So I can mouse over Bob, who's an existing account, and I can click on Bob and open up Bob's page. So again, from the alert, I can go to device, I can go to user, I can go back to alert. It's all connected and all combines the information and categorizes it as needed. And again, with every page that you go to, it lists out the recommended steps for how to deal with this issue. And here, first step, disable Bob's account. Second step, disconnect, and then the list goes on.
This seems like a lot of information, Jason. Is this in a database that this is holding it? Like, is there a SQL database behind this and it has to accumulate all this data?
Yeah, great question. So ATA, it runs on premise, and the ATA Center, it has its own database. It actually uses MongoDB.
Okay.
So on that Windows 2012 R2 server where you're running the ATA Center, you'll see a service for the center, and you'll also see a service server service for the MongoDB.
And how much data, do we have to have a lot of storage space? I mean, it seems like it's collecting a lot of information. I'd be a little worried that I run out of disk space. Is that a problem with this?
So in the planning stage, when you're doing the sizing of how many gateways do I need, part of that is also, well, how big should I plan for my database? And they have recommendations for you on that size. There's actually two databases. The one you got to be worried about is, I'm blocking the name on it, but this is the database that keeps the long-term information. It actually holds data for up to 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Because it's continually learning. It needs to go back and reference all of the other data.
Wow. Okay. So that's good. At least they have a sizing guide for you, so you know before you get involved in this what it's going to take to put this in place.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know that. That's why I was asking the question.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a great question, and usually the ATA, it evokes a lot of interest, a lot of questions, and it's really a great tool. And security folks, IT departments are pretty excited once they get it installed, and it gives them this insight into their environment, which perhaps they didn't have before, or perhaps they were looking at tools that were priced out of their range to do these kinds of things. So how much does it cost? Well, ATA is part of the EMS suite, so if you purchase the suite, that's per user per month. It's included. It's Azure AD Premium, Intune, Rights Management, and Advanced Threat Analytics. And again, all four of those together really provide an amazing security and compliance and user empowering solution.
Is this all or nothing? Do I have to sign up every user in my account for this? I mean, I'm just thinking I might want to do this for my high-end executives or the places where the information is really critical to my business.
Right. And yeah, I personally recommend if a company, let's say they're starting with Office 365, which comes with Azure Active Directory. And standard, right.
Premium like you're getting here, right.
There's a free version, a basic version, and a premium version.
Okay.
And they're very interested in expanding Azure AD because there's some really great tools available. But it does cost more. And so what we suggest is, if, as you can see on this chart, these are the off-the-shelf pricing. If you have 6-month, 12-month commitments or EAs, the pricing is most likely less for you. But if you bought these separately, just anytime you get at least 2 of these, you're now paying more than you would for the whole license.
Okay.
But it's a cost. So what we recommend, if that's a stumbling point, then as you were saying, get the EMS license just for, your top 10, 20, 30 high value accounts and begin using it. And then, as it becomes necessary, you can expand that, and especially as you start understanding, the value behind all 4 solutions together, I think it will become, an important strategic choice. And in the long run, I think ends up saving companies a lot of money from a variety of security and compliance issues.
And the beauty is you don't have to reconfigure anything, right? You just add licenses, and now it's just collecting more data.
Correct. Oh, right. And I put two bit.ly links here to 2 resources which I want to share. I think I can exit out of the PowerPoint and just copy and paste those into the chat.
You should be able to.
Okay.
Sure.
And one of these is a bit.ly link to the Microsoft Cloud Security for Enterprise Architects. It's a great PDF. And the other is the EMS. It's actually an EMS poster. So, you have to zoom in. It's a great poster. You can print it up. It's a nice high-level overview of the 4 solutions in EMS. And what's different than, from third quarter last year is this one now has the advanced threat analytics solution added to it. So
I think if you go back and hit escape, yeah, there you go. And now you can cut and paste.
Yeah, so let's just grab those. There we go. So those are the 2 bit.lys to those documents. So I hope you download them. They're great resources to have. And all right, and I think Kevin, you want to talk more?
I'll cover this, and this is where Champion and MessageOps really adds their value to Office 365 and Azure, because there's a lot of places that you could go, obviously, to get these services. We're not the only company, but we try to make ourselves a little bit better than everybody else. So first of all, if you're either a partner of record or if you're a CSP with us, you'll get quarterly security assessments. So over and above what you're doing with threat analytics, we'll come in there and run a quarterly security assessment, let you know if you have any vulnerabilities, where they are, and give you recommendations on how you can fix them. We also do the same thing with your network assessment. We know that as you move more and more workloads to the cloud, the network becomes really one of the most important portions of your environment to be able to get the access that you need, but more importantly, the performance that your end users are looking for and are really used to with their applications. Oops, sorry about that. That was my fault. We also have a site. One of the big things that when we talk to customers is that they love Office 365, but they don't even know everything that's available to them. People don't know what Delve is or the new planner that just came out that's really like a project but light. It's a light project application. There's things like Yammer and OneDrive, obviously, but all these different applications that are available. So we created this Office 365 adoption platform. This is a platform that gives you, first of all, helpful videos. It gives you quick start guides for all the applications that are out there. And it gives you the ability to help your end users really start to take advantage of the full breadth of Office 365. We have training, and you'll see on the adoption platform, a lot of the videos are these little snippets like, how do I attach a file? Or what if I want to attach a link from OneDrive? Or, things that some people might not know how to do that become very, very useful on a day-to-day basis. And in the training portion of the adoption platform, you'll find that. One of the big things that really get people interested in Champion is our Office 365 Exchange Migrator. It's really a great tool to simplify getting your data up into the Microsoft Cloud and helping you get into the cloud faster. The MessageOps Discovery Scout. This becomes really your lifeblood when you're working inside Exchange in Office 365. It gives you the ability to retrieve emails that even after they've been deleted and even after they've been pushed to the repository up in Microsoft where they hold them for 14 days, most people don't know how to get that information back in case they need it. This is a great tool that can do that. It can also search all of your mailboxes for a certain subject. So if you're for litigation purposes or anything, you lose an employee and you're looking for all the documentation on a certain account, you'll be able to do that. My 365, and this is a plug-in that goes right inside of Outlook. So if you're running Outlook 2016 or 2013 and you don't know all the settings, you don't know how to set up a signature or change the size of your font or make your calendar color coordinated or any of those type of things, My 365 is a wizard-based plugin that will help your users actually make their Outlook more productive for them. And then, of course, the password sync. And this, especially if you're, in both locations and you're looking to sync up your passwords between the cloud and your on-premise environment, this is a tool that most people can't live without. So, those are just some of our added value services that you, from MessageOps and from Champion, you get as free. And it's really a no-charge item for those people that are with Champion and allow us to help them with their Office 365. Next steps. So if you call here, 877-788-1617, you can schedule an appointment with a person like Jason that can go over all the EMS benefits, go more in depth on the advanced threat analytics and how it can really help your company keep your data safe and make sure that you're moving forward. You can also visit our website, www.messageops.com. You can request a free trial. I believe, are there 30-day trials still out there for these products?
Yes, any client can get a 30-day free trial of EMS, all 4 of those solutions.
Oh, wow. So they could set them up, start accumulating that data even before they have to pay for it.
Yeah, in fact, with all 4 of those solutions, you can enable a number of services that's going to give you great insight into your existing network environment.
I mean, that's worth the admission. The price of admission, it's worth that, right?
Right.
And then obviously you could take the EMS challenge on our homepage and answer, I think it's like 6 questions or something like that real fast to see if this might be something that could help your business. So really just 4 quick next steps. But no, everyone, we really appreciate your time today. I hope this was worth the 35 minutes that we spent with you. Again, please reach out to us if you have any questions. We have Jason and his whole team that will be able to help you. Thanks and have a great day.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.